Emergency crews have rescued people from homes and vehicles on the New South Wales Northern Rivers after some flash flooding. In Western Queensland, Longreach residents are preparing for possible major flooding along the Thomson River. Let's speak now to Angus Hines, Senior Meteorologist at the Bureau of Meteorology. Good morning to you, Angus. We'll start off with the flash flooding in the Northern Rivers region. What was behind that?
Yeah, morning Joe, morning everyone. We'd seen so much flooding in recent days in Queensland and the Northern Territory that New South Wales were just saying don't forget about us, and we saw some very heavy rainfall sweep northwards through northern parts of the state with a southerly change that moved through yesterday. We saw some incredibly heavy rainfall around Byron Bay in particular. They had 120 millimetres over the last 24 hours, but almost all of that fell within 2 hours. They had 65 millimetres or so 1 hour, 50 millimetres the hour immediately after that. And when you get that much rain in a short space of time in any urban area, that rain just cannot drain away quickly enough, and it leads to flash flooding. And that is absolutely what we saw around parts of the Northern Rivers yesterday, as that band of rain moved through. There were some storms in the mix as well, which just add these pockets of locally heavier falls than what everyone else receives. And in fact, that did move across the state border and also impact some southern and southwestern parts of Brisbane. Not quite to the same extent, but we saw about 95 millimetres of rain in Brisbane in pretty quick time with that same weather system moving through.
And is that system easing up now?
It is easing up, yep, and it's continuing to move northwards. So as of this morning, that same weather system is now about in line with the Wide Bay Bundaberg area in eastern Queensland, but it certainly has lost a bit of its intensity. So it is still bringing some rain, some showers as it moves northwards, and maybe a risk of storms, but we don't anticipate quite seeing those same intense hourly totals as we saw yesterday, bringing such intense flash flooding.
Let's talk more about the situation in Queensland. We've got possible major flooding along the Thomson River.
We do, yeah. We've actually seen that water level at Longreach on the Thomson spike overnight last night. It's now shot up to the major flood level, and it's expected to keep climbing through the day today. So we certainly anticipate community impacts around the Longreach area today, with water inundating low-lying areas along the river. We could see road closures, maybe bridge closures, maybe some water into properties. We're probably not going to see a peak around the Longreach region until at least tonight, overnight into Sunday morning. So it is going to be a weekend where that river is running very high. We have finally seen that all that flood water from upstream arrive there through the last 12 hours or so, causing that water level to climb. And it's not just Longreach which could be seeing major flooding today. We also have the potential for some pretty significant flooding over the course of the weekend at Barcaldine. They've had it through the last day or so, but another day still to go. Surat could be seeing some major flooding today, as could Barrelabar. So there are still a number of communities in Queensland that should be on watch, should be on alert for floodwaters moving through from that rain earlier in the week.
So we've spoken about New South Wales, Queensland, can't forget the Northern Territory as well. We've had some major flooding there too.
We certainly have, yeah. There's been a number of rivers which have been in significant flood over the week that has just gone, including the Catherine River, which saw major flooding and the highest water levels in almost 30 years, since 1998. Now, a little bit of good news there. Those water levels have dropped. We're now down to the minor flood level and continuing to see that river level drop, but there is more rain in the forecast for the next few days, so we could see renewed rises as wet weather and stormy weather fall again across Catherine and the surrounding areas that feed into that river. We're still seeing major flooding at the Daly River, and that is just keeping on climbing. That is turning into a pretty notable flood event. I don't know if we've seen flooding this high, certainly not for a number of decades, and that river is still climbing. So very significant flooding going on across the Daly River. That will continue through the week ahead. Hopefully the other rivers across the NT, not just the Catherine but also the Waterhouse, continuing to drop away at the moment.
And not surprising given all we've just been talking about, but it looks like March is on track to be one of the wettest on record.
Yeah, well, certainly the start of March has begun that way, packed a real punch in terms of rainfall for northern and eastern Australia, and some places already have had well and truly in excess of their typical March rainfall. So for a lot of parts of the north and the east, I am sure that by the time we get to the end of the month, it will shake out as being one of, if not the wettest March on record. The forecast for the next couple of weeks is not as wet as what we have seen over the first part of March, so perhaps we will start to see those numbers tapering off and maybe things just balancing out a little bit for many areas, but certainly some places have had more rain than they would like at this time of year.